Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life with Lindsay. Today, we are working on a WIP Chat. For those who don't know what a WIP Chat is, WIP is WIP, which stands for Work in Progress. So I will be working on my current WIP, which is the Pirate Princess. One day I'll remember what it is, and by the time I do that, I'll be done with this canvas. It is the Pirate Princess. Had to look at my log here. And you can work on whatever it is that you want to work on, whether it is another craft project that you pull out, or I've had people tell me that they work on housework while I'm rambling and bambling, while they're driving or while they're at work. Whatever it is, there is no right or wrong way to WIP and chat. So a few boring housekeeping tips before I get into it. Let me just make sure I'm in the right spot. Yep. Totally just lost my train of thought. Oh, I am utilizing a different fan today. I don't know if it's any louder or not on camera. And I guess I will only find that out when Editing Lindsay steps in to do her important job. It's actually a neck fan, which I think I may have mentioned that in a previous video that I got one, but I'm not wearing it around my neck because I feel like if I do it and it's that close to the microphone on my phone, it might just be obnoxious. So for now, it is sitting on my desk. It is right over here. I'm recording this while my tiny human is, I believe, asleep, so that should be good. My husband is working on baseball stuff at the moment, so he's in the room. Say hi, husband.
Hello.
Jeez, he didn't even let me finish. He didn't even let me finish! Say hi, husband.
Hello.
And as I think I've stated in the last couple videos that I've put up, which I will be going over the next couple videos with you guys as well, there's going to be a lot of pens being swapped in and out. If there's anything specific that you guys want to know where it came from, all the fun things, just let me know down below. So, like I said, my husband is in the room. I am recording this. It is Sunday night, right? Yes. So we had a really full week. We had off. So my brother-in-law is a school teacher in a neighboring school district. And he was like, yeah, you guys have off, we don't. And I was like, huh, look at that. So the preschool program that my daughter goes through, the therapy sessions and stuff that she gets, those are all based off of the school district's calendar. So for us, they were off this past week, and then they'll be off tomorrow for Memorial Day, and then they'll go back. So we didn't have any sessions, so we thought, oh, this would be the perfect time for us to go and visit the grandparents. Now, my family lives about an hour and a half away each way. So about 3 plus hours in a car with a toddler. And then his family lives locally, but his parents are not together, so they don't live together. So we always have to break it up and do multiple visits to get everyone in. So Tuesday, we had our normal ice skating session, which oddly enough, our ice skating instructor said she never takes time off except for like Christmas. And this coming week, they're actually taking the day off, Memorial Day. I don't know if it's the whole week or if it's Memorial Day and Tuesday. But anyway, so we don't have ice skating this coming week, which is the first time since we started that she won't have it. And that's fine. We already let her know because the week after that is when we do our camping trip. And if you guys missed all those details, I will make sure to link the WIP and Chat where I was talking about that up in the eye. So anyway, we went ice skating, and then my child doesn't consistently nap, but she still has nap time or quiet time in her room. So we knew we wanted to plan something around our schedule, but that my kid was still home for a nap. So what we did was Tuesday, we picked up my mother-in-law after ice skating, and we picked up some food, and we just went and had a picnic in the park. The one park that she lives near, it's really nice. It's right near the VA hospital, so there's always nurses off duty walking and there's some nice walking trails, and there's a lot of stuff. There's basketball courts, there's playgrounds, stuff like that. But we usually try to stay away from all that just because it's easier to contain her if like we're just walking around and at a picnic bench. So we did that. We had lunch with my mother-in-law, which was lovely. And then, excuse me, there was another family who had the exact same idea. Pretty sure it was also a grandmother, mother, and child. And I could see like my kid and her and their kid were like eyeing each other up. And I was like, you can say hi. Now, I don't know if you guys have small children, have previously had small children, or interact with small children often. But I feel like my kid wants to say hi to other kids, but doesn't do it until we tell her, it's okay, you can say hi. And then she's like, oh, hi. Which, I don't know. But that's what we did Tuesday. And that was nice. That was really nice to see my mother-in-law. And we tend to do that with her, do the park day, because she lives in a senior housing community. It's not like an assisted living facility, but everyone there is a senior. And we don't want, let's say my kid is a silent carrier. We don't want to potentially be bringing something in that could be dangerous to others. And because she has a dog that requires, I would like to feel like it's an excessive amount of attention, but maybe I'm wrong. Like she can't take a lot of time to do stuff with us because the dog needs tending to, which I'm not saying that dogs should be left willy-nilly, but when people go to work for 8 hours a day, dogs manage to survive at home. Like her dog, I swear to God, her dog is left alone for like 5 minutes and she's whimpering and like freaking out. But that's neither here nor there. So when she does come over to our house, which it's been a long time since she's actually been to our house, then she is not there for too long because she has to get home for her dog. So, and interestingly enough, she had gotten sick earlier this year, and the manager of the building was like, we need somebody to take the dog. And I was like, this is their way of saying, we want you to take the dog without saying, we want you to take the dog. And it was never going to happen. I'm not anti-dog. I know people are like, well, you don't like cats. Yeah, I don't like cats. But I'm also incredibly allergic to dogs and cats. But also I don't want to take the dog. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But, so we did that on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we went down to see my parents. Now, my parents, they have, like, my mom will be like, well, she can come swimming. My parents don't have a pool. Okay. They have like a nice jacuzzi. I guess it's nice. I've never even been in it. This is not the house that my parents have been living at for, years and years and years. They've only been in this house for like 2 years, I guess. Maybe. And their old house had a pool, which, that sucks. That we can't just be like, let's go swimming. But my mom will be like, well, why don't you just bring her swimsuit and she can go swimming. And I'm like, Mom, I love you dearly, but me just grabbing a swimsuit I have to bring a change of clothing. I have to find water diapers. I have to make sure I have a sun hat and sunscreen. And it's like, while I understand that she thought it would be like this easy thing to just be like, oh, let's do this. This will be fun. It actually is more nerve-wracking because now I have to bring 17,000 other things with me that I wasn't planning on bringing. So, I shouldn't say for some reason, but for some reason, my daughter announced, she said, I want to do arts and crafts with Mimi, which is what we call my mom. And I said, oh, okay. So I was talking to my mom the one day and I was like, well, do you have any arts and crafts type stuff at your house? Now, my mother is a mosaic artist and she's got tons and tons and tons of art supplies, but she doesn't necessarily have crafting supplies that are age appropriate for a 3-year-old, which I don't expect her to have, but I explained to her, I said, let me know if you don't have anything, Mom, because I was just going to order like a, Crayola craft kit or whatever off of Amazon and just have it sent to their house. So we got to my parents' house, and lo and behold, they must have gone out or ordered or something, because my mom had this wooden, like a face mask on a stick, like a masquerade kind of one, but it was of a princess. And then she got, oddly enough, we have them at home and we love them. They're called Quick Sticks, which if you have a kid, these are amazing. They're like Elmer's glue sticks, but with paint. So you just screw up the top or the bottom, the lid comes off, and then you screw up the bottom, and it's just a stick of paint. I love them. I think they're great, and they dry almost instantly, so they are far less messy than, pots of paint. They work great on wood, on paper, like so many different surfaces. So I was really excited when my mom pulled those out. And then she also got puffy stickers, which, fun mom hack here. If you guys have a kid that you want to decorate a pumpkin with, but you don't want to bust out the paint, those, like foam, the puffy stickers, they work really well on a clean pumpkin. So there you go. I can also tell you about my other mom hack, which we'll get to that in a moment. So my mom pulled out this whole thing, and then she even had more. She's like, I've got more. And then at the end of the day, she's like, you can take it with you. And I'm like, no, Mom. Like, the point of this is so that next time there's already craft stuff for her to do without Mommy having to pack up everything. And she's like, well, I'd like to get scissors for next time. And I'm like, well, just remind me, because I bought I think there was 4 pairs or 6 pairs. And the last one I bought because, her old OT made a big deal about how she couldn't use scissors. And she destroyed a pair of scissors trying to make them work. I would say that's a long story, but it's not. It's just a boring story. She just destroyed some, crappy plastic paper scissors. So I can't remember. I think it must have been that night when we got home. I said to my husband, he's like, I don't really want to cook. And I said, that's totally fine. But we live in small town USA. We don't live out in the middle of nowhere, but there's not a lot of food options that are different from each other. So, when you DoorDash, you're getting from the same handful of restaurants. So I had said, do you want to go out to eat? There was a restaurant that had recently, I don't know if it changed ownership or it changed what its food was, what its name was, but it has this, I want to call it an open air covered deck. So at the end of the night, there's garage doors that come up so they can completely seal it in. Part of that is also for a noise ordinance, but it was nice out. And everything was completely open. So it was open air. I wasn't super concerned about that. And Briar really wanted tacos. I was like, all right. So we got her the tacos. And I had ordered it the second we sat down. Now, if you've ever been out to a restaurant and you've seen small children, you can have brought them yourself. There's nothing worse than when you say, can you get my child's thing out first? And they literally don't bring out the kids' meal until the dinner, because kids, unless they're a little bit older, they can't control being hungry and not understanding they have to wait for their meal. Because at home, you don't put them at the dinner table 20 minutes before the food comes out. You put them in as soon as it's ready to eat. So they brought her meal. And I had ordered a cocktail. Now, I got a wine, a sangria slushy, I think it was. And the second that came out, she did not care that she had her own meal and her own drink and her own everything on her plate. She just wanted what Mommy had. And I was like, well, shit. I can't let her have it because, well, there's alcohol in it. And so I said, can you guys do, I don't know, a virgin pina colada? Something that's slushy that we can put in a kid's cup for her. And they said, yeah, let me see what we can do. So they came back and they got her a virgin pina colada, and her meal, she had chosen as her side dish the baby carrots. So she's sitting there and she is just going to town on this pina colada, which pineapple or coconut is a very assertive flavor. So if you don't like it, I wasn't sure if she would like drinking coconut. That's one of those, my husband likes the flavor, but he doesn't like the texture. So I didn't know how she would react. But I just didn't want her to, I wanted her to enjoy it. Well, she enjoyed it a lot. And then she just tuned the rest of us out. So, like I said, this is an open air restaurant. Well, she went over to where right behind our table is where like they have windows that they would put up at nighttime, which I don't think there's actual windows. I think it's just like blinds. Excuse me. But she was standing there with her tiny little cup of baby carrots and her mocktail, and not a care in the world, wanted nothing to do with said tacos at that point. And my husband jokingly said, this is, straight from the housewives diet. Here's our kid. You know what? I can't fault her. I can't be mad at her behavior because she was doing the best she could with what she had. And that was fine for us because she stayed pretty put. A couple times she wanted to wander off, but she stayed pretty put, and she may not have eaten a large amount of food, but she ate an entire thing of baby carrots. So at least it was, nutritional. But this is the third time she's eaten out at a restaurant in, 15 months. So she's just got to get used to it again. And she wasn't super great at a restaurant like pre-pandemic, so I can't fault her for it. But we did that, and it was one of those things, like, we had a really nice day, so we were like, let's go for it. And then we went and saw her grandfather the next day, and she was so excited. Every time she talks about it, Grandpa Jack has cows and kitties on his farm. He has, like, barn cats. He doesn't have cats that, like, live in his house. They just live in his barn. And, I guess you would just call them feral cats, but he treats them really well, and he feeds them, and then, there's always new kittens. And she gets so excited because she wants to see the kitty as well. She was climbing all over all the equipment. This time I was smart enough to not put her in something that was super fashionable and more functional, because I always put her in a cute outfit to go see the grandparents and things like that, but every time she's at her grandfather's, she gets into dirt and things like that. And this was no exception, but she was better dressed for it, I guess, this time around. But it's funny because she has a Mickey Mouse toolkit, I guess we'll call it. It's a little bucket that has a hard hat for the lid, but then you can take the hard hat off and wear it, and it has Mickey Mouse ears on it. And she loves it, and every time we're at his house, she goes over and gets that. And so she enjoyed spending time with her grandfather. She always does. And he is so super sweet with her. My kiddo is the youngest grandchild on both sides of the family by a lot. By like 12 years, I think. 12 years. 11 years, I don't know, by a lot. And so all of the cousins that she has on both sides of the family are all teenagers or older. So for her, she doesn't really know any better. But for them, they're like, oh, we haven't had a little one around in so long. And all the grandparents just relish in their time with her. And it's sweet. And each one of them has a very different relationship with her. And, like my parents, when I talk to my mom is content with like my kid just rambling on and then having me translate whatever it is she said. Whereas like my mother-in-law, for example, wants to have a conversation with her. And, that's hard at 3. Sometimes she just wants to like shout things as she's running by and, creating chaos and just being a toddler. And sometimes it's easier said than done. And sometimes it's more understood than others. But I think that all of the grandparents just love that fresh breath of air that she is. She's just sweet and innocent. Like, if you ever want to experience true innocence in this world, go with a kid, a small kid, to the first time that they're ever at in a zoo or an aquarium or something like that.
Park.
I don't know the amusement park so much because some kids aren't really into that. But when they see that giant fish swim by or whatever it may be, it's like, oh my God. And you can see it on their face and it's unreal. And I'm really ready to take my kiddo back to the aquarium. And now I'm at that point where, you know, our state is talking about opening up soon, which, in my personal opinion, I think that we need to have a higher percentage of people fully vaccinated before we're opening up everything to the public. And I'm not here to have a debate. So if you feel otherwise, you can have conversation with somebody else about that. But I would love to get her to the aquarium before it does fully open up back up, because I don't want there to be so many kids there and so many people there. And if you've ever been around a child, it doesn't have to be your child. You don't even need to have children. If you've ever seen a child, they literally touch everything and then immediately touch their face, touch their mouth. You're like, oh my God. And that's why kids get sick when they go to school, because they don't understand the concept of, like, keep your germs to yourself. My kiddo keeps sneezing and, like, sneezing on me. And I'm like, Briar, you have to cover your mouth when you sneeze. And she's like, I don't want to. And I'm like, thank God for the mask, because at least that keeps that contained. You know, like, gross kid, you can't do that.
Or she'll tell you after she sees, I need to cover my mouth.
Yeah, I'm like, thanks. Yeah, we know. We told you that. But I can't force something yet. We'll work on that. But anyway, so we did that, and then, I don't remember what day anything was at this point, because, you know, days all blend together. But we ended up, I think it was Thursday, we ended up going to, Target, which Target's about 25 minutes away from us-ish. Ooh. And we wanted to get some stuff for our camping trip. And there's, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like a fast casual barbecue restaurant. And, oh my God, what's it called? Mission Barbecue. They're a chain, but they're everywhere. And they have a complete outside, like, picnic bench style area. So we did that with her one other time recently, and it worked out well. And so we did it again. So we went to Target, got a couple stuff. Got more than a couple stuff. We spent a crap ton of money. And some of the stuff was stuff that we needed for the trip, and other stuff was like, oh, we need this in the house. Like, I wanted to get beach towels because we own, like, one beach towel. Well, that's great, but how are 3 people supposed to use one towel when we go to the pool at the campsite, or, you know, the beach, or literally anywhere that we could be bringing towels with us? So, yes, I needed it for the trip, but I'm also going to be using it again. You know what I mean? It's not like a one-time thing. So, I'm excited. We're going to get some food. And if you talk to Briar, she'll tell you, like, she's so excited for hot dogs and s'mores. And so my husband has lovingly told her that the only thing acceptable on a hot dog is mustard, never ketchup. So the other day, and she likes to do this little motion. If you're looking up, you'll see me doing it. She'll go, ketchup, mustard. And she just goes like that, just to pretend. And so she was playing around, and he said, well, what do you put on a hot dog? And she goes, ketchup. And he goes, you never put ketchup on a hot dog. Totally joking, but it totally took her, like, off guard. And she just burst into tears, and we were like, no, like, Daddy's joking, he's just joking. She did not get it. And then she would, Daddy's just kidding. And we're like, Daddy is kidding, it's okay. She did not understand.
It's weird, because I talked to her, you know, that's not something that's out of the ordinary.
No, he says it to her all the time, but something about that particular time took her off guard, and that's fine. And, you know, but now, like, she said to me the other day, she goes, and I'll have a hot dog, no ketchup. She goes, Daddy was just joking. And I'm like, yeah. So when you guys hear me talking about, like, my kid obsesses over certain things and I don't know if that's normal or not, this is what I'm talking about. It's like days later and she's still talking about how Daddy was joking about no ketchup on a hot dog. Well,
I was joking about the way I
yes, you were joking about, yeah, I know. But if she wanted to have ketchup on a hot dog, you're not going to, like, not let her have it. Anyway, because I don't know how the audio is when you're over there, we're just going to keep going. So we did that, got some stuff, and then, of course, we get to the restaurant, get our food, and she's like, there's people here. Yeah. She's like getting up and dancing. I'm like, can you just eat some dinner? So it was nice. It's nice to be able to do these kinds of things. And then we went down the street. There's a Cold Stone Creamery, which if you've never been to Cold Stone and you are an ice cream person, you are missing out. Now, I'm not going to say it's the best ice cream in the world, but what I will say is think of like when you go to Dairy Queen and you get a Blizzard and all the stuff is blended into it. They put the ice cream on a Cold Stone, hence the name, and they use these flat, like almost like shovels, and they basically just mush all the ingredients together, and then they scoop it up and they put it in your cone, your cup, your whatever. And so I had been dying to get ice cream for a while, like real ice cream. And so my husband's like, well, let's go down. We can get Cold Stone if she's good. So we did. And it's funny. She'll tell you she wants chocolate. And every time she gets chocolate, anything, like ice cream wise, she only takes a couple bites. But recently we went to a Rita's. We have a Rita's near us that does drive-thru. And she ordered a vanilla. And she ate the whole thing. Like not a single drop of ice cream left. So he was like, well, we'll share an ice cream and Mommy will get an ice cream. And I was like, okay, let's see. And I had said to my husband, oh, I bet you she'd really like the cake batter. What did she pick? The cake batter. The only reason she picked it is because it had sprinkles. Quick water break. Which is fine because that worked for what he wanted and that worked for what she wanted. And everybody was happy. So we did that. That's how we spent that. And then we let her know, like, no uncertain terms, that Friday was going to be a just sitting around doing nothing day. Because her new thing now is, what are we going to do today? I want to do something fun. I want to do something cool. And I'm like, what is the something fun that you want to do? Yet she never knows. But if you're like, I don't know what you want to do, Briar, then she gets mad because apparently I'm supposed to know what something cool or something fun is, even though she's never told us either of those things. Anyway, so we did nothing on Friday, which was glorious. And then Saturday, it went from 90 degrees to 40-something degrees. So that was interesting. And then today, which is Sunday, we went to the market. And have you guys watched my WIP Chat where I was talking about Marty? He is the robot guy at Giant Markets, which, again, if you don't know what Giant is, I'm talking about the name of the store. It's a Giant. It's not the size of the store. So they have this robot, and he's pretty much useless, but he rides around the store, and he's very polarizing. Either kids love him or they're totally terrified of him, and she loves him. So she got to see Marty, so she was excited. Also, Giant has free fruit for kids, like while you shop. So she likes to go because they have mandarin oranges, and she always gets to eat an orange. Of course, she doesn't understand it's not like access to our fridge, because she'll be like, I want another one. And it's like, girlfriend, you can't have an endless supply of oranges. You have to buy the oranges. Like, you get the one for free, and that's it. Like, that's it, you know? She does not know because she asks every single time. But the best part was my kiddo's in the front of the,
Buggy.
sorry, no, I'm just measuring this buggy. You call it a buggy?
A lot of people do. I call it a cart.
I've never called it a buggy in my life. It's a shopping cart to me. Anyway, she was in the front of the shopping cart, and he's peeling the orange for her, and she puts it right up to her mouth to take a bite. she still has a mask on. She didn't even realize it. She's like trying to put it in her mouth. And I was just like, Briar girl. And she's like, so I took it out. I took down the mask and then she ate her mandarin orange and then put it back up. And it was funny. It made me giggle. It made her giggle. She did pretty good. Everywhere that my husband needed to be, somebody else was at. Everywhere I was, somebody needed to be there. It's like, oh my goodness. My husband is notorious, and this is a 100% factual statement here. Anytime he is at the supermarket, or pretty much any kind of store, but always at the supermarket, wherever he is where someone else has to be. And I've come to notice, and I don't know, I feel like it's gotten worse since COVID happened, but people will just stand there and they'll harumph or they'll, try to reach around you or whatever instead of just saying, excuse me. Now, I don't know why that's become a difficult concept. And like, it's obviously not because of like socially distancing and stuff like that, because people are still reaching around you to get whatever they need. And so today I was in the aisle with the salad dressing. And I was trying to look. Listen, why are there 7,000 of the same kind of salad dressings from different brands? We're going to make a Caesar salad for dinner one night with grilled salmon and chicken. And this lady clearly needed salad dressing, but I didn't know that because she just stood there and didn't say anything. And they had, when you're at the market, they always have things hanging in front of the rack. So, for example, we were in the aisle that had the salad dressing, so they had salad tongs. So she's sitting there and she's trying to touch all the salad tongs. Now, if you're buying something like that from the supermarket, most people are going to go home and wash that before they use it. But, I didn't want her, especially during a pandemic, touching a bunch of stuff. So I moved the cart up, a cart's length, let's say, so that she couldn't reach it. Well, now I was directly where this woman needed to be. And she's literally just like glaring at me. And I can hear her harumphing. And I was like, like, lady. So I moved my child again. And I said very loudly, apparently we're in somebody's way. Too bad people don't know how to say excuse me anymore. And the woman never said, oh, I'm so sorry, excuse me. She literally just came in, grabbed what she wanted. Now, there was another woman, an older woman, who could clearly see that this is what was happening, and that the woman, and she just said to me, there's too many choices, aren't there? Why are there so many different kinds of salad dressing? And I was like, you know it. And they're not all made equally. Like, we bought a Caesar salad dressing recently, and my husband was like, I can't even eat this. It's terrible. And it was just frustrating because if I'm in your way, I'm not doing it intentionally, especially when I'm there with my daughter, because sometimes I'm just moving the cart to get her out of the way. But if you need past, here is a little life lesson from Life.W.Lindsay to you. Just say, excuse me. That's it. Nobody's going to be an asshole about it. And if they are, they were going to be an asshole about it whether you said excuse me or not. It just drives me nuts. How am I supposed to know that a stranger needs to be wherever I am if they don't let me know this? How am I supposed to know that somebody I know needs to be where I am unless they know it? If you were shopping with a friend and they needed something, they would say like, oh, let me grab this real quick, or oh, excuse me real quick. I just don't understand why people just, I don't know. It just frustrates me. Just say excuse me. And it's definitely gotten worse since the pandemic, but I don't know. So my husband needed to get hummus, and he likes the one hummus that they have at Giant that they don't have at our supermarket that's down the street. So there was a guy in one of the power wheelchair with the baskets. And so he's like, okay. And, he didn't want to tell the guy, like, could you move out of the way, even politely, because he was clearly doing something. So I was like, he's like, let's just come back around. So we came back around and the dude is still there. So it was like 3 different attempts. And then he was there again with an employee because he was trying to get his coupon scanned. I don't know. All I know is that my husband finally got his hummus after like 3 attempts. But, she's been doing pretty good at the market. And that's nice because the more we get back to doing like normal routine kind of things with her, the more regular her day-to-day becomes. So, our preschool program, because they are still young children, you can't take physical therapy away from a kid for the entire summer and hope that they'll just pick it back up, So they do all of their therapy services through, I want to say it's mid-July, and then they come back in August. So they only have, I think, 5 weeks off over the summer instead of 8 or 10 weeks that the K-12 kids have. So for us, we're going to lose that, but we'll still have ice skating. So it'd be nice for us to be able to do more things. My husband is a huge Baltimore Orioles fan. Right now they have the worst losing streak in history.
They have the worst record in baseball currently.
Okay, sorry.
And they have a 13-game losing streak.
So they have a 13-game losing streak. So, this is not even an exaggeration. I would say 3 to 5 times a week we get emails from the Orioles email saying, hey, tickets for this game is still available. And it's like, well, yeah. So we would like to get down there to take her to see a game, which we didn't get to do last year because of COVID. But the problem is I am not ready to go stay in a hotel with her quite yet. And it's about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minute drive from our house down to the Orioles Stadium. But with a small kid, you can't just plan the whole day. So we usually, when we go down, we stay at a hotel, which is not a big deal normally. And then we go and spend time in the city and do other things. So we take her to the aquarium, to the kids museum, the science museum, Fells Point, all these fun things. But I am not ready to go do that stuff quite yet. But I don't want to go when the mask mandates are lifted. Now, my husband made a really good point. Even when they open up Camden Yards back to full capacity, it's not going to be full. They're still going to be like, hey, come buy tickets and come see our guys play. Because they're just not doing great right now, which is fine. We're not going because we are like, this is going to be a life-changing experience. We're going to see the best baseball game ever. We just go because, that's his team. It's always a fun environment. I don't know if you guys like baseball games, but there's just something about being in a beautiful ballpark and all this stuff. But it's not usually a one-day thing with us just because we have a kid. Now, pre-baby, we would go down for a game for the day and then come back home because it was fine if we were driving at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night because we're adults. We can handle that. I don't know about you guys, but not many 3-year-olds that I know can hang like that. So it sucks because we would love to do all of that stuff with her, but it's I don't really want to be in an enclosed building with a bunch of people who aren't masked because now they're taking that mandate away. And look, I'm going to say something that I know is going to piss a lot of people off. And, it's not to sound like an asshole or to be totally rude, but it's my channel. So I can say, whatever I want. I mean, I guess within reason. And if this upsets you, I do apologize. But most of the people who are going around out and about that are like, look at me, I'm not wearing a mask anymore, are not the people who are fully vaccinated, who are quote unquote allowed to be taking their masks off. Now, I'm not sitting here and policing and telling you what you should or shouldn't be doing. I'm just saying I'm not ready to expose my child, potentially, because people are stubborn and they think more about themselves than the people around them. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I know that's, is a hot button issue, but I have reasons to protect my child. Not that any parent doesn't, but I have a lot of reasons to protect her. And she has some health concerns and she has a compromised airway, and I will do anything in my power to make sure that she is as safe as she can be, because she cannot be vaccinated. So, hopefully Baltimore will be in our on our radar this summer. I'm not sure. She keeps talking about wanting to go to the beach, which, my sister, who lives on the other side of the country, they usually come in the summer, and she's like, I don't know if we're going to be coming in this summer or not, and I don't know. And I said to her, like, in all honesty, I said, if you come in, I don't know if mom and dad are going to want to do stuff. I don't know if any of us are going to want to do stuff. I think my husband's totally fine with going and doing whatever, just taking the precautionary steps. And it's funny because I'm a very, very, very trusting person. I'm actually far too trusting. But I don't trust people with this, because a lie like, oh, I'm fully vaccinated and I haven't been around anyone who's exposed, when they have not been vaccinated and have been around people who have had COVID, that puts my child at risk. And that's not something I'm okay with. So, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to a point where I'm like, okay, let's just do life the way we used to. And that sucks, because my kid is still a kid. And I'm doing things with her now, but I'm doing things like ice skating is not her head on with a bunch of other kids. Yes, there are other kids in her class, but they're all skating on the ice. They're not like dogpiling on each other the way they would be in a soccer shots or, different things like that. And there are some things that my husband and I have talked about, potentially trying for over the summer, like kinder music or a tinker garden or something like that, where it's an outdoor activity, but it can still allow her to socialize. So, it's hard because as an adult, whether you are a parent, a grandparent, not a parent, you always wonder if you're making the right decision. Are you making the right decision for yourself? Are you making the right decision for those you make decisions for? You just never know. And I'm not going to know if I made the right decision for her, probably ever, because these aren't things she can express to me. She's 3, so she can't be like, you know what, Mom, I really appreciate that 2020 through 2021, you kept an extra eye on me. These are concepts that are not understood, so it is what it is. I'm trying to continue to do things that bring joy to her life and bring more normalcy, which is why we are going on this camping trip in the first place. And we will be staying in a cabin, so I don't have to worry about her touching all the same stuff that everyone else is touching. And, I know that there are people out there that are like, well, you should let them build up their immune systems. And I'm like, yeah, there's a difference between building up your immune system and being a small child who literally puts everything, they touch their face. You go, don't touch your face. The first thing they do is touch their face. They just don't understand. And my kid has not been sick in a year and a half. So I feel like there's something to say about staying home and protecting ourselves and wearing masks when we do leave the house, because even, normal winter gross colds we didn't have to deal with in this house this year. And I know we're not the only ones. And I think that has to do a lot with people wearing their masks and being more, aware. Yeah. Conscious of washing their hands and things like that. And, so I'm excited for the camping trip. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not what you would deem an outdoors person. And I mean, part of the reason is I'm not physically built for it. I'm fat. I'm lazy. I prefer to be indoors. I mean, I do like being outside, don't get me wrong. But I am also incredibly fair. I get sunburnt really, really easily, even with sunscreen on, even with proper sun care, with the sun hat, with the longs. I just am not meant to be one of those super outdoorsy people. So I'm hoping that we have good weather, obviously, but I'm excited. She wants to go fishing. She wants to go swimming. There's a petting zoo. There's all sorts of really cool stuff. So I'm really, really excited. I'm really, really hopeful. So that's, that's exciting. And this will be the first time. This is, I think, the first time I've ever gone camping, I think. For real camping. I mean, I guess not really for real camping. I'm in a cabin, but it's still on a campground. Like, I don't think I've ever done that. And obviously this is the first time my kid's done this. So she's super excited. It's just going to be fun. And I just hope that if you have ever been on vacation with a child, it's not a vacation for the parents. And it's not like we're going on a trip with my parents where I can be like, hey, you entertain her for an hour while my husband and I go out and have a date. Or, I don't know, sleep. Things like that. But I'm excited. I'm very excited. So we got new pokers so we can do some hot dogs and some s'mores on the fire pit. We have a grill. So if you guys have any good camping recipes, let me know. I don't think we're going to cook everything open flame because I feel like that's we have to make sure. I don't know what kind of pots and pans they have, and I don't know what kind of things they have available to us, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't really want to, go travel with a cast iron skillet. I mean, maybe some people do, but so I'm excited for that. So since we don't have ice skating on Tuesday coming up, like in a few days, the next time we go ice skating is the following week, and that's the day we leave for camping. And our trip is only, we're staying 2 nights, and then having one of our therapy sessions, because we have therapy twice a week, and they're always 2 days apart. So it's either Monday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Friday. So for us, we're doing it speech, which is actually in person for us now, but we're doing that virtually while we're on the campground. So that'll be, fine. It's literally 30, 45 minutes of her day, and then she just goes out and does whatever she wants to do. So it'll be nice. Like, my husband and her are going to start going for walks in the morning to help burn some of the energy early in the day. He's like, you're more than welcome to join us. And I'm like, oh, I know. The downside to going for walks early in the morning, not early in the morning, like in the morning after breakfast, is that involves me having to put on a bra and real pants. And sometimes I just don't want to do that, to each their own. But I'm excited for the trip. I'm excited for all of that. And then I've been emailing back and forth with my rabbi, who I have not seen in probably a year and a half now because of COVID. For those who have ever heard me talk about, my daughter would go to Tat Shabbat, which, if you don't know what that is, it is a Shabbat service, a Sabbath for little kids. I want to say it's up to 2nd grade is what they did it to. And it was a super kid-friendly, interactive service. So it's not a family service. It's literally for little kids. It was built and designed for small children. But it's a good way to instill Judaism and different aspects of it, songs, prayers, like holidays, things like that, into their world when they're little. And we loved going to Tat Shabbat, and obviously those were put on hold because of the pandemic, and I believe that they are now starting to open up for services. I would say I belong to a very small synagogue, like a very, very small synagogue. So even at max capacity, it's not full. But they haven't gotten around to Tat Shabbat, which is fine because I don't know if I would be ready to send her to Tat Shabbat tomorrow. But one thing that I had spoken to the rabbi about a while ago is I was supposed to do a baby naming ceremony for my daughter. So for those who don't know what that is, I'll get into it. A little backstory. You are supposed to have your baby naming ceremony within the first couple weeks of your child's birth. If it is a boy, it is typically done at the bris, which is the religious circumcision ceremony. For those who don't know, I did not find out the sex of the baby. And I actually had to find a moil, which is the person who performs the circumcision for the bris, and basically have them on standby, because I didn't know if I would be able to find somebody that quickly after giving birth. And I let them know, I don't know if I'm having a boy or a girl, so I don't know if this is something that I will need or not. And he said, it's not actually that uncommon, so not a big deal. We will put you on the books. So had I had a boy, we would have had the baby naming ceremony right then and there. And again, I'll get to the details of what that all means. Quick water break. Still using the striped cup. This has become my new water cup. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And the girl temporarily closed her shop, and I'm just like counting down the days till she reopens, which I don't even know when that'll be. Looking for this color. Oh man. So anyway, my daughter's 3.5 now, and I have not yet done the baby naming ceremony. So for those who are sitting there going, oh my gosh, Lindsay, just tell us what that means. So in the Jewish religion, you don't name after anyone who's living. And my daughter is named after my grandmother. And her name was Betty. My daughter's name is Briar. That's where we got the B name from. So in a baby naming ceremony, your child will get their Hebrew name, or as I come to learn, it can be Hebrew or Yiddish. And then that's basically the time that you announce to like friends and family and the world, this is my child, so-and-so. And then you give a little bit of information about who the baby was named after, if they were named after anyone, and then they get their Hebrew name, and that's that. Now, for anyone who is curious, we will not be using her Hebrew name in our household. I used it at Hebrew school, so I could like learn the alphabet and things like that. I used it on it's called a ketubah. It is a Jewish marriage license. It is not a binding legal document, at least not here in the U.S. And then, I think that's it. So for my daughter, she's named after my grandmother. I gave the rabbi my grandmother's Hebrew name, which he came back and told me those are actually the Yiddish pronunciations, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure that my dad said that his grandparents, which would have been my grandmother's parents, spoke Yiddish in their household. That was before my time. So I went through and I said, I don't have a name, but this is her name and I'd like something similar. And I explained why. So I don't want to divulge everything here because, my family doesn't know what we've chosen. And it was funny because I gave my daughter the two options and one of them she really liked. And the other one, she's like, don't say that. And I was like, well, oddly enough, if I had done this when my child was a baby, I probably would have gone with the one that she doesn't seem to like. Now,
as would have I.
Okay, so now, if my kid decides on the day of this baby naming ceremony that she doesn't like that name anymore, like, you don't have a choice, kid. I can't change it. Like, we're having a ceremony for it. But because we're in the middle of a pandemic and because I have family all over the place, I asked the rabbi if we could do this over Zoom, and he said yes. So he and I had gone back and forth a few times. The correspondence wasn't very frequent, and so I actually was worried because I hadn't heard from him in maybe 2 weeks, and so I was actually going to email him, and then he emailed me yesterday. And he said, how about Saturday, June 5th at 3 p.m.? And I said, perfect. Now, what you guys don't know is that June 5th is my grandmother's birthday. The same grandmother that my daughter's named after. So even if that wouldn't have worked for my schedule, we would have made that work for our schedule because he didn't know this. And I do think that was a very cosmic connection to have it on the same day of her birth. And, you know, my husband's never met my grandmother. She passed away before we started dating. He's met my other grandmother who has since passed. I have no living grandparents. And, you know, he's always heard stories about how amazing of a woman my grandmother was. And there's a reason that we chose to name after her. I mean, part of the reason was because we were told whoever the next child is that has a child, I have 3 siblings, that person would name them after my grandmother. So my husband knew that our firstborn child would be named after my grandmother before we were even engaged. Probably like in the very early stages of marriage or of dating, because I wanted him to know, like, this is something I didn't really have a choice on. And I don't want to say it like that because it's not a negative thing. I had such a special relationship with my grandmother that I am honored that my daughter is named after her. She was a fiercely independent, incredibly strong woman who was a single parent raising 2 kids on her own in a time when people were not single families. She busted her ass, worked hard, and made sure her kids had a better life than she did. And Briar, if you look up the definition of that name, it is a brush of wild roses. She is my real life Sour Patch Kid. She is beautiful but thorny. So it is very fitting that she's named after my grandmother. And it is very fitting to be doing this baby naming ceremony. Should I have done this a long time ago? Yeah. But the fact is, we're doing it now, and that's really all that matters. Everything does happen for a reason, and I miss my grandmother so much, and I know that she would love Briar. She would love Briar. I had a very special relationship with my nan. She had a drawer in her apartment for each one of her grandkids. Excuse me. And it had crafting supplies for me and all sorts of cool stuff. And she made sure that each one of her grandchildren felt special, that we each did something different than the next one. And so even though I have 2 younger brothers who also had drawers at her house, like my one brother used to go to Bob Evans with my grandmother up until COVID. I had never eaten Bob Evans in my life, and that's only because they were on DoorDash for a period of time, and they delivered breakfast food to our house, and I had never had Bob Evans before that, and that's what my one brother would always do with her. She would take me to this 50s style diner in Philly that I don't know if it's still there. If anyone is from the Philadelphia area and you've been to Nifty 50s, let me know if it's still around. But at the time, which I know they stopped doing this, they actually did it like car hop style where the girls were on the roller skates. It was just something very magical that I did with my grandmother. And my dad always said to me, version 2.0, the grandparent version of my grandmother, as opposed to the parent version of my grandmother, was such a different person. And I believe that because I see how my parents are with my child as opposed to how they were with me as their child. And I'm super honored to be able to share that with some of my husband's family who really doesn't know anything about my grandmother or really why we named her what we named her. And to do it on her birthday means a lot. And coincidentally, that is also my mother-in-law's birthday. And that has always been like this little beautiful connection that my mother-in-law and my grandmother have the same birthday. And I'm really excited that this is how we're going to spend that birthday. And I know I spoke with my aunt. She will be joining us. I know I have a couple other family members that are joining us. I know my dad said he was going to see if my cousin, who was also Nan's grandchild, is going to be able to join us. And honestly, pandemic or not, being able to do something so monumental, and it's not even like this huge occasion. It's just more of an occasion now because my kid is old enough to, be aware and also misbehave. And it's just something that it's going to be special for me. And I'm really excited that the internet is able to make it that we can all do it together. So I have already gone past the hour mark here, so I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to wipe these tears away. They are all happy tears. If you guys ever want to hear more stories of my grandmother, please let me know. I would be very willing to share some of those fun family stories. I got a good chunk done while I was with you guys. I got these roses are done. In the books coming up, I do have the post review for the Valentine Masquerade that will go up this week. I also have an unboxing for my event canvas. I will be doing Knox's event starting June 1st. This will not be completed by June 1st. I'm debating whether I'm going to put this on hold or if I'm just going to finish this and then start the next one. Either way, I've got those. And then I am going to be sitting down and filming my Mary's Part 2, Welcome to the Shit Show video, whatever you want to call it. So keep your eyes out for that. If there's any kind of videos that you guys would like to see and I don't do them on my channel, please let me know. Or if you'd like to see more of specific content or less of specific content, let me know that as well. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, or saw, air quote, because I'm sure most of you are listening, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. One real life, one virtual. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Come, join the Sparkle Squad. And while you are there, make sure you hit that notification bell.
Ding.
I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time. I record when my tiny human is sleeping or sleeping. So I do the best with what I've got. And that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.